Welcome to Sell It Sessions. My name is Sharon Evan, and today I have with me the one and only Tomer David. Tomer, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, thank you for having me, Sharon. It's really a pleasure.
Tomer is the founder also of Sourcing Monsters, which is also his YouTube channel. And apart from that, he has built his 7-figure Amazon business. You've been selling online on Amazon for 2 years, but you built your business to 7 figures in 18 months.
Correct.
So that's what we're gonna speak about today. But can you just give us a brief intro about you, Tomer, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tomer. I'm Amazon FBA seller, full-time seller. I quit my day job 6 months ago to do Amazon full-time. I live in Florida, in the United States. I moved to the States 8 years ago, and marketing, it's something that I'm passionate about, and I do for, I would say, last 12 years now.
Cool. So you and I are both also from the same country. You're also Israeli, I'm a Kiwi that moved to Israel, whatever. But and I love saying that because it just shows how from anywhere in the world you can do anything, even though you're an American now and you're officially American. But anyway, can you, Tomer, tell us how you started to get into Amazon? Because I know that you already had an online business before you got into Amazon. So let's start off with that.
So to be honest, I don't know where I saw all these videos and people that make money on Amazon. It came to a point where I felt that whatever I'm doing, the other business, which it was a e-commerce business, we were selling jewelry, manufacturing our own items. It was very demanding. The money was good and everything was fine, but it was really demanding. I had to be at the office, couldn't go for vacations. It was really stress me out. I would work crazy hours, and at that point I felt that I need to make a change. I tried to have like a side gig or side jobs before. I think 6 or 7 years ago I started to buy and sell websites, but I didn't really take it seriously. I just would grow them, sell them for like 5 or 10K profit and just move on. But it wasn't something scalable or with the system that I could really take to the next level. Plus, you add to the fact that this is something that takes long time. If you start a website, content website, you see the results after like a year or 8 months after putting all this work. With Amazon FBA, from what I saw, it's opportunity to make money relatively quicker than other making online like gigs or options for you. But I saw the opportunity, and I remember that. So it was like one day that I said to myself, that's it, enough. I'm gonna change what I do and decide on just create my own freedom and have another job. Again, not because the money, because of the stressful business model and the situation that of that business. But I really stumbled upon, I don't remember, one video of guy sell on Amazon on YouTube like most of the people, and I decided to give it a shot. I watched a YouTube video, like your YouTube videos on how to source, how to do everything. I felt kind of comfortable doing this, like even if it was completely new, because I spent time on my computer since I'm like 10 years old. Like it's very natural to me. I started my own hosting company like when I was 12. So I had like experience with new things. So I felt comfortable doing it. So, but I had the wrong really advice. I followed the wrong advice, and I basically entered into a market that was very saturated and competitive, and I lost on the first product. I did a removal order, brought it to me, and then I found a guy that helped me, mentored me, and I took it and started the business. I mean, started my own brand in January 2018. So that's how I started, briefly.
Cool. So you've heard about it randomly online, and then that's how you decided to get into it. So you said that your first product was what, too saturated?
It was like party decorations kit, and it was like I tried to differentiate myself. I went into like a smaller niche, like a mint party decoration, but still I didn't really know what I'm doing. um if I'm looking like at this, back. But yeah, definitely, I didn't really know what I'm doing, and that's why I failed. But I at one point after this failure, I remember talking to my wife, and I told her, look, I know, I see all these people, they're making money, because I know to really see the difference between all these scammers to the real people. And I saw some real people that making money, and they look legit. And I thought to myself, I'm doing something wrong, so maybe I should give it another try. But it was hard. And I remember people told me, you want to lose another 5 or 6 thousand. And everyone I asked for advice, told me, no, don't do it. But I knew something inside, that people make money. It's just I have to adjust and do something differently. And there is a good chance that I can make it. I didn't know if I would, make it or not. But I remember at one point, it was either the Amazon FBA or doing what I did before, content websites. And I remember doing like a research for like 2 or 3 weeks just to decide on where I want to go, because when I go after something, I go all in. So I wanted to make sure that I go all in on something that makes sense, and not waste my time on something that might not work. But yeah, that was the plan. And then I remember like setting very clear goals on what I'm gonna do for the next year, without really, without letting the results really take me down or demotivate me from keep going. So I just told myself, let's work 3 hours a day on that business, because I had my other stuff from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day in the morning, because that's the only time that I had. And then just keep pushing and see what's going on after a year. Even if I'm not gonna reach my goals, let's give it a full uh
Yeah.
chance year of doing the work, putting the work. And if I'm not gonna see results, then I'm gonna quit, or like decide not to continue with that. But obviously it worked. And with everything now, I feel that with everything that I'm gonna do, if I have the right plan, I'm gonna stick to it, be consistent, I can achieve anything. So that's a great feeling.
I love that. I think goal setting is something that is very, very important, something I've been working on a lot more lately as well. So, I'd like to sort of talk through your journey from zero, as in, on Amazon, zero, because you were brand new to Amazon, and how
Yeah.
you were able to scale to, 7 figures in revenue in 18 months. So we'll start off with the first product that you, not your first like failed product, the first product that you like. How did you decide, the one after you started having mentoring, etc.? How did you decide on your very first product? And leading up to that question, my next question after that is going to be, did you then stick on brand with that product, and did you build a brand around that, or did you just find a product and then from there decide to bring in random products where you saw opportunities?
Yeah, great question. So I started with a product that was related to jewelry. I felt that I have experience with jewelry. That's what I was doing, and it worked well. It worked very well. After 1 month of product research, 3 hours every day, just product research, because I wanted to make sure that I'm going after the right product. Was everyone telling this? It's still relevant today. If you don't have a good product, doesn't matter what you do. Or the other way, if you have a good product, like even if you're not expert at PPC, or your listing is not that great or whatever, you still have a chance to sell. So it's all about the product that you choose. But to your question, no, the next product that I launched wasn't really related to the first item. Right now, this year, I'm actually minimizing the categories that I'm doing, because it has, I realized after trying to sell the business, right now we are negotiating with a couple of buyers, and it's important for them to have one niche. But that's what I did. I launched many products in different categories, and it worked well. But because I didn't really limit myself. For example, now I have a second brand which is around toys. It's all about toys, and that's what I do. But sometimes you have opportunity that you think you can sell on other niche, and it's kind of blocking you. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing to diversify and have like all these niches, But if I would give advice to someone new that just start, yeah, try to stick to the same product, same niche, because it will be easier for you to source and manage the business. That's a really big thing. Yeah, just managing everything and sourcing new products is much easier when you work with the same supplier or same niche, rather than just explore new niches all the time.
So I didn't know that. I don't think I knew. Maybe you told me and I forgot. I didn't know that you were in the middle of negotiations. So it's interesting how you said that right now buyers are more interested in when you like actually dominate or are in the same niche, which I didn't even know that you were in that. So first of all, congratulations for getting to that in such a short amount of time. Now, out of curiosity, your new toy brand that you just said that you have, did you open a second account for that, or did you do it on your same account? Often
I opened because I already had that mind that I'm gonna sell. I don't want to sell like 100%. I strongly believe in my brand and where I can take it. So I want to sell like 40 or 50%, just so I can see some of the profits. Because as you know, it's all about the paper. I can see like the previous day I did like $3,000 or $4,000 in profit a day, but I don't see that money. So because it's all reinvested, in order to grow, you have to invest it back. So I want to see some of the profits, and just not sell the whole brand, because I strongly believe I can take it to the next level. I don't want to have someone else enjoy the fruits of my labor,
Cool. So someone here just put up the question, asked, how do you come up with a random product? So I think what they mean is, because my question was, how were you finding your next products? Was it on brand, or were you just selling? When I said random products, what I mean by that is, if it's not on brand, then I call it random, because it's just a product where you've seen an opportunity in. So I think the question that Free Speech UK here is asking is, how do you come up with just like finding those random opportunities? What's your system, for example?
Yeah, so I didn't really have a system. I sourced the first product, and then I saw the competitors, looked what other products they were selling, and I found opportunity there as well, and just kept launching new products like that. Because I saw, this is a tip, but when you source a product based on someone else, like you saw their product and you think you can make a better job, and you actually source it and you are successful, you're selling it successfully, and you look at the other items, it gives you confidence and telling yourself, oh, if you see their listings and you already have this validation that you already beat them on one product, gives you confidence to beat them on the other products as well, because you kind of already build your own formula for the listing and photos and things like that.
Tomo? Sorry,
Yes.
I lost you for a second. So you said you've already built your own formula for like building, for having the better listing and etc. So just to clarify, your strategy at the time was basically to look at the competitors in the niche that you'd already gotten into to see what they were selling, and that's how. Now, because I know you, and I know that today you have amazing systems in place, like you have, which I'd love for you to share with everyone as well. I know that today you do have a system for when you choose new products. I know that you also today have, a team that works for you. So if we go from, it's from zero, Free Speech just said, hey, David said hello, and all Free Speech said thanks. If we go from 0 to 1 million in 18 months, first of all, you need a lot of cash flow for that, right? You need to be able to not only bring in new stock, but also when you bring in your new products, but also when it comes to like building systems in place for someone who's not been in this specific business before. I know that you're used to working with inventory because you had your jewelry business, but on Amazon, everything's very, very different. So can you share with us what types of systems you have today in place for someone who grew so quick? In my opinion, getting to 7 figures in 18 months, where else can you do it? So in my opinion, you grew very fast. So can you share with us what kind of systems you have in place today?
Yeah.
So for example, for product research, but if you want to share other systems, you can as well.
Yeah, for sure. So the first couple of months and products, I didn't really have a system, just try to figure out everything. And then once I got an idea on how things work, I started to systemize and hire my first VA. As far as now, you can have systems or checklists or procedures in place even if you don't have a team. Like for example, when I launch a new product, I have like a list of checklists, like a checklist of things that I do. Like, okay, did I added the product to the Vine program, to the early review program? Did I launch like 4 or 5 campaigns? Did I like just a couple of things to make sure that everything is done? Because sometimes you can forget about it, but once you have everything organized with a checklist, you can make sure that you do everything for that is the same for the next product that you launch. For product research, the same thing. I build my own criteria, my own columns that I think are good or can give you an idea whether a product gonna make it or not, and then created like an Excel file that is going through these steps. Because sometimes if you don't work in an organized way, you can skip steps. For example, it had happened to me. That's why I build those systems. I would source a product and then I wouldn't check if it's patented because I didn't have that checklist. Or I would forget to check like to get samples or to order competitors' products. Or these are heavy things, so I wouldn't forget. But I'm talking about things that you might forget or skip because you are not organized. So at your first product, yeah, you're on top of things. You want everything to be like to work, and you're like checking everything. The second product as well. But once you have more products, you can't lose this track. And that's why it's so important to have these like checklist or system. I like to connect it with a Google form. So whenever you enter a new product, you put it with a Google form that connects it to the Google Sheet. And by doing that, it's like forcing you to choose the exact, like there is a form validation. So it will not allow you to edit before you add all the details. So that's for product research, but I do have system pretty much for everything. I would say for inventory, you mentioned and said that I was doing the jewelry. So I wasn't in charge of the inventory. So for me, it was new. I still struggle with it. Actually, the goal for 2021 is to hire, and I already hired a new employee, just gonna focus on logistics and inventory management. I figure out that I lost a lot of money due to that. I didn't had enough time to really check everything, and due to that, many items were out of stock in 2020. Not just because of that, obviously the stock all of that, but I figured that this hiring will return a lot. Like the ROI on that will be sorry.
It's okay. Okay, well, we have a question here by Mario saying, hey, do you analyze the number of reviews when you decide to sell a product? Do you use a maximum threshold of 4 reviews when deciding go or no go to sell a product?
Yeah, great question. So the second product that I launched, my mentor told me, look, it's too competitive because the items that were selling them, the listings were adding like 1,000 reviews, 5,000, 700. But I felt that I'm bringing something unique to the market. My USP was so good that I felt confident launching even if they have 20,000 reviews. So it's something that I look at, but it's not really something that I pay attention too much. Yes, of course, if I see that the first page listing, they're all having more than 10,000 reviews, and you can't really see anyone new with like 100 or 200 reviews that actually make money, it's a red flag, an alert for myself. And I do look at it, but again, not really giving it like full attention. What's important is your USP, your listing. And if you can bring a good value to the market, you can that's the beauty of Amazon. You can beat someone that is there for 5 years.
Just so those don't know what the USP is, you talk about the unique selling point.
Yeah.
Or differentiation. So yeah, it's interesting because you said about your mentor and how your mentor said there's a lot of reviews, etc. So I remember that I once had a client, which I'd love to bring on one day in future here, and he may be watching us if he is. Hi, Ash. And basically he showed me this product that him and his wife had designed, which was like, let's just use like one of these as an example. This is like what do you call this? Having a blackout, like a bookshelf. Yeah, like an organizer. Let's just pretend it's an organizer like this. An organizer for people on the podcast listening, an organizer to put on your desk, to put all sorts of different things in. And it's not that, but let's just say it's a similar product to that. And basically, it was such a saturated niche. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work. But what I did not know was that he had done his research on a very specific type of buyer avatar that likes a very specific design of something that I didn't even know was a thing, right? Because you have to really know it in order to understand that it's a thing. And I was also focusing very much on the reviews. And I was like, Ash, I don't think it's going to do that well. And he was the biggest person to prove me wrong. And he's kicking ass. Like he's even looking to sell his brand at some point. And it's because of the fact that even though many people had reviews, etc., he found that niche within that category that I didn't even know was a thing until he'd said it to me. So I think that reviews matter to a certain point. And like you said about differentiation, it's extremely important as well. But you're very right. I don't think enough people say that, but you can definitely come in and take out people that have been on there for like 5 years. Right. So
if you won't take a bestseller badge, that will take you a long time because they're established, their rankings and all of that. But you can take like a nice piece of the pie, market cap, and just like look at it from that point of view. Maybe you're not gonna be the leader at like the first year or two, but it's fine. With that product, only now I got the bestseller badge after 2 years. So and now it's skyrocketing, like it's double the sales. So I got not double, but like 50 or 60% increase in sales just because of the bestseller badge. So this is really
amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations for getting the bestseller badge as well.
Thank you.
So how many products do you have in today for people to, well, not for today, but to get, how many products did it take you? Let me rephrase the question, to get to 1 million in revenue. Was it like 1 or 2 products, or was it like 10 products?
It was actually 20. So I'll explain about how I gathered a little more. So the first year I told myself I want to make $10,000 profit every month. So, that's also a big part of how, if you want to get, to a 7 figures or 8 figures quick, you have to really set yourself very, very high goals. Because that will push you and your actions will be derived from the goal, So when I had this in mind, I knew that I have to launch X amount of products or have enough revenue to reach that goal. And it happened after exactly like, I think 11 months, I got to a point where I make 10,000. It was like 4 or 5 products, if I'm not sure. If I'm
10,000 in profits or in revenue? Profit.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Was it $10,000 in profits or in revenue?
In profit. So it was about like 40 or 50K in revenue. And then when the year ends and I reached the goal and I was sitting and trying to set new goals, I saw what is possible. I told myself I didn't have like in mind that I want to become a 7-figure. I just looked at the profit. I don't care if I'm a 6-figure, but I make this amount, or 7-figure. Doesn't matter. I look at the bottom line at profit. So I said to myself, I want to make 50,000 a month profit. And, in order to achieve that, I have to, back then, I thought that I need to launch more and more products. And that's what I did. I launched in 2020, 20 more products. And, wow. Many failed, to be honest. I would be very open. I would say at least 10 failed. When I say failed, means that some of them I would reorder and just try to fight and get it to rank and be profitable, and didn't work. Or from the get-go, just from the beginning, like you see it's not selling, I would do removal order. So I lost a lot of money on those 10, but I'm very happy that I lost a lot of money and I learned so many new things. So, don't be afraid to fail. Every failure makes you better, makes you smarter. So I learned from that I should focus on 2021 on more like a monster products. I call them those products that make like 200K a month, 300. Because to launch this product comparing to a regular product that make, when I say regular, a lower revenue product makes that, let's say 30 or 40 or 10, it's the same effort. You still have to do all this work, whether it's listing, where it's contacting suppliers. So I figure out I will choose where I want to focus and just launch more of those monster products. But to your original question, I think at the point where I had like around 20 products, I got to this point. But you have to understand, when you launch so many products, you don't really see the revenue and results that quick. It takes a couple of months. So I would say though the 7 figures is attributed to maybe 7 or 8 products.
Of the products. Interesting. I didn't know that you did 20 products in 2020 out of all the years, right? It's a tough one, but it also means that you tried many different things, which is
Niches, yeah.
what was the biggest thing that you learned from launching so many products, apart from the monster product thing that you learned after that? But what's the biggest thing? Focus.
Yeah, it took away my focus from
Mm.
really, I would like, just deal with fires and stuff like that, and which applies too many products, and you can't really. Back then, I wasn't really prepared enough with, like enough employees or VAs to really handle the things, and I had to really do the work instead of looking on it from the top, on how can I grow the profit, on the things that I should really, focus on. But because I handle everything myself, I had to deal with 20 products, logistics, and inventory, and paying all these supplies, and it took a lot of focus for me. So that's the lesson that I learned, and I'm trying to implement it, trying to launch less products but go after bigger fishes.
So just for me now, out of curiosity, when you say, and then we'll take some questions because there's actually a lot of questions here. When you say that you're now working on monster products, right? So are you trying to then, you said like the products where the big guys are making 200,000, etc., right? Are you then trying to take a smaller piece of that pie? So like, what is your end goal? Or are you trying to be at the top, number one, trying to take away from those guys with the 20K, etc., that hold, quite a large amount, have quite a large amount of market share?
Yeah. So great question. I'm not just entering into a market to play. I'm there to take over. So yeah, I want to really control, dominate the niche. I think that's I don't know if it's bad or good, but that's how I look at things. If I do something, I want to be the best. So it's a totally different tactic when you launch a 20,000 to a 300,000. When you launch those products, you need to prepare that you're gonna lose a lot of money at the beginning.
On marketing.
Until you get the ranking, until you start to see any profits. One of my current mentors, he had a product, those monster products that he was trying to get into, and it was losing $60,000 until he saw any profit. But then within 1 year, but then towards the end of the year, he made $120,000 in profit. So total in that year, 120,000. But he lost 60K in profit. He lost $60,000 before he saw anything. Most people will quit after 20 or 30. But when you have this in mind and you are really willing to push and lose money, there is a good chance that you can make it. I can't really say, but because I don't have any product that sells 300K a month at this point.
So cash flow wise, because you need a lot of cash flow for inventory in order, to be able to handle that. Are you going to, like, basically what I'm asking is, how are you going to handle the cash flow for these monster products, which suits your sourcing monster branding? How are you going to, handle the cash flow on it? Are you going to, go and get funding or etc.?
Yeah.
Would you have a partner?
I'll explain about the beginning, how I had the cash flow, because it's a little different than the situation that I have now. So in the beginning, the good thing, I didn't take any salary. So everything was reinvested. That helped me launch more products and get inventory. So that was a big deal. Another thing was I really never was scared to use credit cards. And I had 6 or 7 credit cards. And I utilized the whole credit line that I had there, which the first Q4 that I had, it was, I think, 100K in debt, and I was like so terrified, like, what's going on? Oh, 100K, and to the credit cards. My father always told me when I was like, never take that, don't ever use like credit cards and stuff like that. So I had that, feeling inside, okay, what's going on? But deep inside, I knew that this is a working product. Everything is working. So yeah, you have risk in anything, but it's a calculated risk. Worst case, I thought to myself, I have an apartment, I have assets. Worst case, I'm not gonna be, starving for food. So, I took that risk and it was paying off. And the same thing for 2020. I was using credit cards heavily. But take in mind that also all this cash flow that I didn't take any salary was invested back. So that was also a big part of the success. These days, what I'm doing is also I'm using the cash flow of the profit, pumping it back. And another reason I'm negotiating for sale is to get more cash
The funding for it.
on it. Plus, I invested some, money that I had on the side back to the business, back for the new brand that I launched. So, people say, "Oh, I don't have cash flow" and all of that. But if you're serious enough, if you want it that bad, you can get funded. You can get through credit cards, through, I hear a lot of people that take from friends and family. Personally, I don't like doing it. I had opportunities of people asking, let me invest in your company, in your brand, but I didn't really need it that much. And I feel that, I don't like to mix things up.
Cool. We have a few questions here. So before I ask my own questions, let's have a look. So Free Speech UK, I love name, said if you have a product such as, let's say, shampoo or something like that with many ingredients, do I need a patent or can I make it and start selling?
Okay, so I sell creams, which has many ingredients. You don't really need a patent. I don't think you can make a patent on that too. So I don't know how it works. I mean, like it's a food. You can make a patent for a recipe that you make at home. I don't think so. And
I agree.
Coca-Cola, maybe. I don't know enough.
I think that I don't think that you need specifically a patent in order to sell it. I don't have any patents on things with ingredients in them, but one thing that I just really said, or something like that, with many ingredients, do I need a patent or can I just make it and start selling? I hope Free Speech UK that you're talking about using like an actual lab to make these things, because in order to sell specifically on Amazon, you're going to need specific certifications, etc., in place and lab tests. So just make sure to also look into that as well. Marius asked, how do you protect your products listings against hijackers?
Okay, so good question. Before I had brand registry, I was like bombing them. So if someone decided to sit on my listing, it would regret it. So I would just send them 20, 30 messages from each account of myself, my friends, my family, like 10 or 15 accounts a day, because they have to reply within 24 hours. Otherwise, it's really hurt their account. They will just, and I would put a message, send me my money back. And I would never like order this product, but I would put words that will maybe trigger Amazon system and put his account at risk. Most sellers, 99%, they just left after 24 hours because who is this crazy guy? I don't want to deal with him.
So you didn't actually do cease and desist letters. You just sent them messages.
Yeah, I did as well. Send them a letter, but I think what worked is that I send them spam them with so many messages, and they said like they have to, you have to no response required if you don't want to reply within the Amazon system. And if you have to do it like 100 times, it would say, let me just remove this product and not deal with him. That's what I think. Then I have brand registry. And to be honest, since I had the brand registry, I never had any hijacker.
Not a lot of hijackers. Yeah, same here. Once you get brand registry, I mean, brand registry does not protect you from getting hijackers, but also it makes it a lot easier dealing with hijackers. And obviously, again, when we say brand registry, ideally is you want to have the trademark within the country that you sell in so that you're actually protected.
Yeah. Another thing I want to add here about the protecting your product. You have sometimes all these Chinese sellers that take part of your photo or your bullets and they just copy it. So if you see something like that, just so you know, you can remove them very easily. You just contact like brand registry, copywriting, you put a claim, and they remove it, and they will just take their listing immediately. Like to me, it happened. I did like 4 or 5 competitors that just steal bullets and descriptions from me, and I just remove them like that.
You actually don't have to be brand registered in order to file copyright infringement on Amazon. You can also not be brand registered and do it. But yeah, the copyright infringement, I even have a free template on it in the group, in the alpha group, but it's something that it's great when you're on the seller's side, right?
Yeah.
And it's great when it's being done to you because Amazon takes them down straight away. But it sucks when someone's using it against you wrongfully because Amazon will, first of all, be on the person's who's filing its side, right? And then, just
never heard it before that someone filed against me like an IP claim, but I heard from people that it's not like before where it was much easier to do it. Today they take it more seriously. They actually check the details. But if someone really wants to take you down, they can, I think.
They'll find a way.
Yeah,
that's true. Morris Wilson said, "Hi, Tomer and Sharon. Love both of you, and thanks for the great content, Tomer. After doing all this journey, how strong would you recommend for others to use this strategy of running in full force with so many items?"
It really depends. I wouldn't say it's bad or good, because if you have the right system in place and you have enough people to delegate the work so you can focus on the things that matter, you can do it. You can run, you have these companies, the Chinese seller, they launch 100 products a month. I don't know, like crazy amount of items. So it's possible. You need to make sure that you're prepared for that. I wasn't prepared, and I don't want to have like a crazy team. That's not my goal. I had like many employees under me, and the more people you add, the more responsibility that you get. So for me, it's not something that I would like to build like a crazy big team. So I want to keep everything lean. So I'm shifting from launching many products to launching less products but bigger ones.
I want to just add on to Morris that there is no right or wrong for it, and like you've done, what I love about you is that you do a lot of experimenting, right? You do a lot of experimenting, you try a lot of new things, and then you see what's going to work for you specifically. So there isn't a right or wrong, because you can make money, and a lot of it, from building a brand, so knowing who your buyer avatar is and find them products around that. And you can also make a lot of money from selling random things. The question is, in my opinion, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it, and also from your experience, is when you sell a random product, and what I mean again by random is you see an opportunity, you do the calculations, you see that it works out, and you bring it out, is in many, many times, those niches will get saturated quite quickly. And when they do, if all you have, as a differentiation is your price point, there's like a shelf life for those types of random products. Where else, when you've built a brand and you're bringing out products that are basically like upselling one another as well, and they complement one another, in my experience, in my opinion, it's easier. I'd love, what do you think about that?
From my experience, I didn't really see that, when I launch random products it's becoming more saturated, because it could happen on
any brand, any product.
Yeah, I sell toys. So if I launch a new toy and I have like 6 other toys, I don't know if this specific product will be saturated in the future or not.
What I meant was, let's just say you sell one toy, and then you sell one cream, and then you sell an umbrella, and then you like totally random things. Because you selling lots of different toys, you can still say you've built a toy brand, right? The buyer avatar may change, because one toy may be for like a 10-year-old, and another toy may be for a 3-year-old, and one may be for Montessori products, and one may be for whatever, right? But what I mean is, when everything that you sell is totally random, and many, you'll continuously need at some point to keep bringing out products forever. That's what I meant, because at some point when that happens, rather than brand building as well, that was my point.
Yeah. I would say that I launch random products, but not that wide range. Like, so let's say I would say in the tools category and then gardening. So I will put the next products would be the same niche, like gardening, and then the other niches. So not like totally random, but like random categories, I would say. So I didn't launch like every time like in a different category, but I think the big downside is focus. And another thing is that you cannot really upsell and cross sell if you build your audience off Amazon. That's a big thing. And I sell on Etsy and on eBay, Shopify, all these. When you
I just heard
actually,
you had a ching ching in the background, and eBay ching ching just before. I think I heard
oh
that
no,
you
the
could sell.
shopkeeper, shopkeeper,
Shopkeeper. Okay, got it.
the ching
Yep,
ching,
sorry.
yeah, I
Keep
love
going.
it. Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, it's not like you said, there is no one way. There are millions ways. There are millions ways to make $1 million, not just Amazon. I am
Well,
also involved with some other like the content websites. You have people making crazy amounts of money and they are at home from nowhere, really. So there is no right way. You have to really listen to everyone. Like I said, the second product, I didn't listen to the mentor. I went to that product. So you have to listen to everyone, but takes what relevance to you and what you believe. So I don't really think there is one right way. Like
I
you.
agree with you. If we all and we all will have. Also, one thing that may have worked for me may not work for you, and one thing that worked for you may not work for the other person, etc. So we all there's no one way, but I love the fact that you're continuously experimenting. Ella's asked, hello, great content. What is your strategy launching new products? Are you using Rebate Key or similar services, Facebook, etc.? So I'm guessing you also is talking about, are you also using search, find, buy methods, etc.? So
Yeah. So the first product that I launched, I did use giveaways, and then I think a month or 2 months after, they started to suspend accounts for giveaways and all of this stuff. And I was like scared, and I knew that I want to build something that is really long term. And I decided that I'm gonna use only like white hat tactics. And since then, I just launched with PPC only, and it's also scalable. All these giveaways took so much energy and managing that I told myself like it doesn't make sense for me to put all this time like giving away, sending money to people on PayPal or doing all this stuff. And Rebate Key, like you have to pay them, and it's not really the power of it didn't really work for me. So I don't do any of those. Just launch with PPC with 0 reviews. I don't even get reviews like before I launch.
you know that I do the same thing. I've said this many times, and it's arguable because, and this is the thing, especially once you mingle so much in the industry, there are so many, different ways to launch, and it's like there are people that only do search, find, buy, and there are people that only do PPC, and there are people that only work with influencers, and I think that we're all different. And my logic behind PPC launches, the same way that you do it, is that the buyers on Amazon are hot. They're hot buyers. They're not typing. They're not just scrolling through Facebook. They're hot buyers. They're ready to buy the product using the keyword that describes your product. All you need to do is persuade them. Yeah, the buyer intent is exactly that. So all you need to do is persuade them to buy your specific product. And that's when it comes down to how well did you do with your product research, your differentiation point, etc. And that's why I don't believe personally myself, and from what you're saying, you as well, it's not that I don't believe, I know that search, find, buy works, but I personally don't think that I need to give away any of my products for free because I'll be able to launch it with PPC. So I'm happy that we're on the same page with that as well.
Data, people don't realize.
Yeah.
When you do giveaways, you pay a lot of money for the products. Here, even if you're losing on PPC and your ACOS is 100%, you have data, you have keywords, you have things that you actually, assets that you get. With the giveaways, it goes to the garbage,
100%. I agree with you. All right. Well, we're getting a lot of questions. So what type of products do you recommend to start with?
The golden
Such
question.
A difficult question.
Yeah.
The golden question. The ones that make sense.
Yeah. What, like we said, whatever like makes sense to you or you see opportunity.
How much budget do you allocate towards marketing?
Towards marketing? I don't really have it like in the place. I just flow with it and see the results. So for example, let's say I launch a new product. I don't set to myself, oh, okay, we are limited with $1,000. It really depends on the result. So if I'm profitable, and some products profitable with 0 reviews from day one, will pump like $10,000. But some products, they're starting slow. So maybe I will limit the budget and try to do some external traffic, or get more reviews before I pump more advertisement.
So when you're doing product research and you're doing your profitability calculations, right? So you're calculating your potential profits. Do you put in some numbers or percentage in your head or in your system for marketing though?
For marketing, no. I mean, I do the calculation, and based on the margin, I set myself enough room for advertisement. So, that's how I look at it. But I don't look and predict, okay, I'm gonna make profit of X amount. I just look at the margins. That's for me what's important,
I usually allocate when I'm doing, the profitability. I always not allocate. I always calculate at least 20% of my sale price just towards the PPC or the marketing of it, because usually it balances out from your launch, and usually you're losing money on PPC in the beginning when you're launching, etc.
It's a good point. I will. It makes sense, actually. It's another thing that, if you systemize it, you put it as a checklist, it's gonna, make sense. And yeah, I do it in a way that just in my head, but I will take your advice and I will systemize this, add this to the, product research.
You should check what your, more or less marketing percentages, are as well, and then you'll be able to calculate that. Mohammed asked, what is your strategy to get the best sourcing, as it's also one of the key profitability?
Yeah, that's a really good question that I really think that it makes difference. The way that you approach it to suppliers, you can cut down with the prices a lot, and that would make a big difference. So I like to really get as many quotes as possible, and then I'm getting very close to the real price they are selling it. So I do have a sourcing agent in China, which I don't really work with too much, but I do it to validate prices. So for example, I will give him product that I'm want to launch, and tell him, get me the best price that you can. And then once I have the price that a Chinese seller, a Chinese guy in China can get, I compare it with the quotes that I got from the suppliers. Now, take in mind, price is not the only thing that we look at. Production time, this is this is the
quality
big thing. Quality, their location, because I have many random products, some of them located all over China. And it's a little problem for me if someone is located so far from my freight forwarder. It's gonna affect the what you call it, the time that you can get it, the production time, the buffering time. Mm-hmm. So but to get prices, the best prices, I have a template that I kept testing. You said that I testings, but I really, in my previous marketing role, that's what I did. I was like a CRO, conversion rate optimization. So I would take a page, we change one element there and one there, and see the results. So I really believe that with data and testing, you can constantly improve yourself. So I got really a template that give me good results and save time, because when you do you talk with suppliers, it's something that takes a lot of time. So read the message that you send, the initial message, make sure that you put everything up front so you don't get back and forth. So from the moment you send the message, the next day I have a quote. Now I get 10 quotes, and then I start to filter those that are not serious, didn't answer in time. I also want people to communicate fast with me, because if they communicate slow with me now, what happened if I do business with them, So it doesn't make sense. So I filter those away and stay with a solid list of quotes. And out of those, I take the best quote, let's say $4 a unit, and I come to the other supplier that was closer, and I tell him, look, the other factory gave it to me for $3. Can you do $3.50? So I take them very down. And then based on their communication, I see where I can, push more or less. I don't want to get to a point that I stretch it too much, because it will affect the quality. So you have to really figure out how to do it, negotiating with them.
Ari said, thank you so much for your answer. I have one more question, please. What is your practice for quality control from manufacturers in China, and how do you vet the manufacturers? Thank you, Tomer and Sharon.
Good question that I need to improve. It's an area where I need to improve with the quality control. I do random inspections, but I could do better job with that. So I don't do for every like single shipment and inspect. But
No.
yeah,
Really?
yeah, I don't do it, and I don't have but I mean, I trust them. So you with the supplier that you work, of course, for new products, yes, but for products that you keep reordering and you kind of trusting them, and you do random checks, I think it's enough, and it's working for me. I never had any like crazy issues with quality, something that was like, oh wow, we need to do a removal order or anything like that. But still, I feel that I'm working on a very thin line, and I need to improve it before something bad happened.
I am personally do an inspection on every single order, no matter how small or big, always and forever. And I also trust my suppliers as much as Sharon Evan, am able to trust someone, because I don't really. We all know I have trust issues, especially with when I have no control, being on the other side of the world. But I personally do an inspection every single time. And the thing is, it has nothing to do with trust. Sometimes things can happen that is out of the supplier's hands, basically. And for me, specifically for quality control, I always have a specification sheet in hand. I will pass my specification sheet to the obviously to the suppliers, and I will also have my own quality control checklist that I will give to my supplier to do before I even bring in my inspection company. So I have a quality control checklist. I ask, and this is one of the things that I also make sure that a factory actually has, is do they have a quality control system in place, because not all do. So personally, I have an inspection on every single one.
Yeah, you do a great job with that, and like I said, that's something I should improve on. And one of the reasons why I want to focus on less products, so I can take care of those things. I was so busy launching so many products that I missed inspections, missed those stuff. So that's when I said focus. That's one of the results when you can't really focus and have enough time to deal with important things, which could hurt you.
You got to also remember that today you have a team in place, but you were doing this, as a one-man show, which is not easy. There's only so much one person can do. And I think it was you actually said this to me the other day. You were like, yeah, but you're a husband and wife team. Like, you're not alone. You've always, which is true, I've always had my husband with me from day one. So we've been able to split things quite easily. And that way it makes it easier, right? Yeah, that's also true. This isn't a question that's been asked here. It's something that I would like to ask, because scaling to 1 million in 18 months is not to be taken for granted. The products that you did bring out, or the products that you sell, do you bring in, do you highly differentiate when you think about your USP and you think about your differentiation? What kind of things are you thinking about when it comes into play? Because it's something that is really important. So
yeah, I changed my mind a lot. So you could hear me saying one thing today, and then in 3 months I will say something else. Why? Mm-hmm. Because I'm testing it, and for this relevant point, that's what I think. But things are constantly changing, and I'm changing my mind. I'm not really going with what I said or changing. So at the beginning, I was really launching products with unique selling point or proposition and improving the product. But then with 2020, because I launched so many products, I kind of didn't really focus on that and focusing more on bundles. So I would bring the same item that is in the market and just create this value, this USP, through bundling and adding some related items. That was the strategy that I had. Which I still think it's a great strategy, but I'm going to mix it with more of improving the product. So having like a killer USP, which improving the main product and also giving bundles, that's where I'm going to focus on in 2021.
And how did the bundle strategy work for you?
So it's working well, but because I launched too many products, I didn't really focus too much on the pilot. It was like a production line, just launching, not giving enough attention, not giving enough time for everything. And that's why I said focus, because I maybe gave like 70-60% on each product, and that was doomed to failure. It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. You have to give 100% in each product.
Tiffany said, LOL, I have trust issues too, Sharon. We will love Tiffany
We
from
all
Eat
have
Sleep.
them.
Amazon.
Yesterday we
Well,
talked. Remember,
yeah,
I can't really, I don't not trust, but I'm not really expecting anything from people
anyone.
because I burned a lot in the past. So I would never be surprised from someone that will, say bad thing on me and or leave a job or position or something like that.
Specifically, we were talking about here on trust issues. I was saying that, even when, and it's not about Chinese, whether I have, a Polish supplier or a Chinese supplier, it doesn't matter. It's suppliers in general. But Joanne Israel wrote, no matter how good they are, mistakes happen and can be corrected during inspections, which I agree. It's why it's so important to bring out inspections. We have a lot of questions here, but before we wrap it up, and guys, Tomer and I would not mind answering your questions later in groups wherever you've asked them, but we need to start wrapping it up. I'd like to ask you, as someone who has, seen that this works, trialed many different things, and continuously, grinding every single day, what is your biggest tip for people today that are A, thinking about getting into Amazon, and B, that are in your situation now and looking to scale?
Yeah,
so questions.
That's something that is not really related to how to do things and the technical parts. It's more about the approach, the attitude, and the mindset to make sure that you prepare enough before you enter to it. So when I say prepare, make sure that your goals are very, very clear. It's all about the clarity. That's one. Second, that you have a plan. The goal itself, it's just one part of it, but you need to have the plan on how to get there. Of course, it could change, during the journey, but you need to know what you are going to do to make it happen and work on your fundamentals. So if someone is not really organized or not really have enough discipline, I don't think that they could really succeed on the high levels. Maybe they can have a success on some degree, but not to a point there that are really killing it. Why? Because it requires discipline. It requires you to really tell yourself, do like the work, and really don't look on some shiny object. And it's all about the fundamentals. I think that after you do the research and you started to do the product research, stick to what works, stick to one people, listen to one advice, don't confuse yourself, and just stick to the fundamentals. That would work. Product research is still the product research, and everything is kind of the same. So yeah, every year and every month you have this new video, insane new way to launch your products, crazy stuff. It's all simple. Stick to the fundamentals and really put the work, and you'll see the result.
Great advice right there. Tomer, thank you so much for coming on. And first of all, I want to wish you good luck with your selling of the company. I hope that it works out, and good luck with one thing that we didn't say that I did want to say, and I'm just reminded, so we'll say it just before we wrap it up, was that you don't sell just in the US market. It took you how long until you got into the European market as well?
Yeah, so it took me like 9 months to just have all these applications. Yes, it was 2020. We have the Corona, the COVID, and it took a little longer than what it will take in normal times, but it's definitely worth it because it's easy profits. You just plug first of all, your listings are immigrated with all the reviews. So this is amazing. You don't have to go through this launching phase. Plus, you're gonna launch and immigrate only the listings that are the best. So, or that already that they're making money in the US. Most chances they're gonna succeed in Europe as well. And it's really something that's worth. Yeah, it's high entry barrier. People say, oh, I don't want to set up the VAT. Yeah, it's a headache, but it's definitely worth it because it's opportunity. Just sending stock there, turning on PPC, and you start seeing sales. But only last 2 or 3 months of 2000, like I think Q4, is when I actually started to sell there, and they also have limitations. So they treat this like a new SKU, not a new SKU, an immigrated SKU as a new SKU. So you can't really send more than 200 units. So I definitely recommend to anyone that have more than 5 or 6 products to just launch there, and start the process. It's really untapped opportunity.
How much would you like of your of the European market would you say now contributes to, like, percentage wise, contributes towards your
Maybe
business
10%
today? Is it like
because I just
10?
started to sell in Q4 and they had these limitations. Now they're allowing me to send more stock, so it's
Getting
it's better.
growing.
But that's why I don't want to sell like 100% of my company. I want to sell 40 or 50% because I strongly believe I can take it to whole different levels, and I believe in that brand and what I do.
Okay, we're gonna have one last question and then we'll wrap it up because there's so many questions here. So Marius asked, what is the price range of your products?
Good question. It's very like the lower end were like $20-$30, something like that. I don't go after like expensive items, something that I might change this year because it's also opportunity. Most people don't launch expensive products, but yeah, to your question, it's around $20-$30 max.
Cool. Now, Tomer, if anyone wants to find you and get a hold of you or watch your content, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I don't really promote anything special, but you can check the YouTube channel, which I created to a couple of reasons, but main reason is just to give back and share like quality content for free, which you can check. It's Sourcing Monster. The website it's sourcing-monster.com, and the YouTube channel is just Sourcing Monster. You can check it out.
Awesome, great stuff. Thank you for coming on, and thank you all for listening. And I'll see you guys next Thursday. Thanks,
Thank you for
Tomer.
having me. Thank you, Sharon.